we have some people who are close to home here, and Dale and Mary Huls of Clear Lake Tea Party have been going down to the Vickers Ranch down at TFIRE, and they've been watching at night through night vision optics and the like, and they have done a real yeoman's job, and they were also there with us. And I would like to have Dale and Mary come up here and just give us a rundown on what they saw there. And they will get up here in a moment. And these are very special people also, believe me folks, without our Tea Party compatriots. This has been a tough thing and impossible to do. Thank you, Dale.
I'll go first because I won't take as long. I'm so pleased to be here tonight. This is really a great time. And I have a message. Jim Gibson, who was here last month, he asked me to tell you all hello. And he's so happy he was here. Because we did have a really good victory at the convention. And I think that Peter gave us all renewed hope, because it was really desperate in that arena for a few minutes. It was really desperate when this gentleman stands up and gives an amendment, and we're like, what? Who's he? Where's he from? Just like Heidi went to him and asked, because we were all asking her to go find out. But then we see Larry go. She was like, oh yeah, we're there. So, it wasn't all social media. Sometimes it was just a thumbs up, but it did spread around the arena, and it made a big difference. In fancy neighborhoods, they're not going to like it when their kids go to school or go to the neighborhood park and they get sick. And it's not going to stay in the Rio Grande. It's going to be in your backyard, their backyard. This was all about the RNC. The Texas solution was all about getting amnesty through D.C. Because if a red state like Texas, if a border state like Texas said, this is okay, we were done. They were going to push it everywhere because Texas said it was okay. Well, Texas said no, and we want more.
Wow. Thank you, Mary. I'll try not to be as long as you. You know why Mary
and he always sets me up.
Can succeed on managing our border situation now? It's because we won at the Republican Texas Convention. We won, that showed our strength, and they recognize that now. That's what we're looking at. I want to go back to the convention a little bit, and I'm not to the 2014, but to the 2012. When we first got the Texas solution shoved down our throat through parliamentary procedure and tricks late at night, we all came away from there feeling pretty bad. The Texas solution was no solution. It was for the corporatists and the political elites who run our party.
It was a betrayal.
It was a betrayal, you're right.
Absolutely.
And we walked away from there going, oh my God, what are we going to do? Well, you know what? We never lost that fire. The grassroots never quit. We never forgot, and we stayed engaged. When 2014 rolled around, the establishment, they knew we were coming. They had heard us talk. We were not shy about it. We were not discreet. We weren't under the radar. We told them, we're coming for the Texas solution because it was wrong. It was wrong then and it's wrong now. So we went for it. And they knew it. And they started to try to stack the decks. You've heard that before. They stacked the platform committee. Norm Adams buying lunches for the committee members and all that other stuff. But it didn't start at the convention. It started before then. Right after the primaries, Commissioner Todd Staples started going around to different SRAC trainings and convention trainings. And he started going to some friendly tea parties and saying, hey, I'd like to talk about the Texas solutions. It's bad. I got something better. We're like, okay. So he comes to the Clear Lake Tea Party, who endorsed him for his run for lieutenant governor. He thought we were a friendly, compliant tea party. because we'd endorsed him, and we endorsed him because of his board position. He thought wrong. We had a telecom with him. You should have seen the faces of my fellow board members as he talked about the new Texas solutions, the one that was rewritten, that was worse than the original. I tell you, it wasn't even a laugh matter. We were shocked. We were angry. We did not let up on him. I'm sure his support staff on the other end of telecom were going, what the hell was that? They're supposed to be our friends and our supporters. What the hell went wrong? What went wrong is we are independent. We make up our own minds. We don't follow people. We follow principle.
He lied to us.
After that teleconference, we felt our Tea Party that we had to get the word out. So I took it upon myself to write a blog about that. I called it the Texas Two-Step and the Texas Solution. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to support Texas Solutions with Texas Solutions heavy. They weren't even trying to lighten it up or make it more for us. They were trying to sell us 3 beans for a cow. Well, with that said, we thought about it. I sent that out to 200 activists across the state, published it in Big Jolly, and got the word out. Hey, they're trying to trick you. Do not listen to them. Right before the convention, last week before the convention, I felt like I had to write another article. And the Texas Solutions was a false hope. And I wrote that and I published that again in Big Jolly. That night, David Jennings from Big Jolly calls me up and he goes, Dale, it's not very often I can get you to have Jerry Patterson and Norm Adams write articles on the same day as you to respond to what you just said. They knew they were in trouble. They knew the grassroots had seen what they were selling, and they were trying to their best to swing the conversations back their way. Did not happen. Thank God for Peter and Rolando. It's so very rare that I get to sit and see people that the hand of God reached down and touched and made them indispensable to something else. The rest of us, we're foot troops and such. These guys were on point. And they were at the right place at the right time. But I'm telling you, they were able to do that because the grassroots, the real conservative grassroots of Texas were prepared. We worked this. We worked it at the convention. We worked it before the convention. Even though the odds were stacked against us, we tried to get our committee man replaced with someone else. And he came up there in his speech for the re-election as a permanent member instead of a temporary. He says it's already been decided. Do not even bother replacing me because it's not going to happen. That's the truth. That's what he said in our SD.
Yep.
And you know what? Our SD sent him back as a permanent committee member. We may get it right eventually, but we're slow learners in SD 11 sometimes.
Who is that?
It was Gabriel Allen. So he was in fact, he'd only been our SD 8 months. He just moved there.
I think Norm Adams sent him down there.
Right, maybe. But this was, Barbara Meeks, the Galveston County Committee Chair, and others who supported Texas Solutions made sure they got their person on the committee platform. That is truly the thing that they were doing, that they were stacking the deck. Anyway, we're going through all that stuff, and we're finding, and Larry's going, Dale, come here, I need to talk to you about this and do this, and other people, Ray Myers and Joanne, and all the rest of them was like, Steve Toth, we got to do this, we got to do that. Here's our plan, here's our strategy. Dale, go take these 2 amendments and get them done by 6 o'clock. And okay, so I'm taking orders. I'm following orders. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm there. Whatever you tell me. But you know what? The thing I did see, it didn't matter where you lived in Texas. If you were part of the grassroots, you were involved and you were working. And whether we were going to win or whether we were going to lose, we were working together as a team. That's rare. With all these Indian tribes we call Tea Parties and other conservative organizations, they pulled together. They were fighting Custer. Of course, we didn't think we were going to win. But we were going to do it anyway. So we pulled together and we put out all our strategies. And it came down to the minority report, and you heard the story of that. And we had it up there, and we had Mark Ramsey, who had been previously, at least in my experience, emailing me saying, hey, yeah, I support what we're doing, and we're going to replace this Texas Solutions. He gets up there to present the minority report. It goes up there, it goes up on the screen, and then he starts talking. He starts talking about the committee platform proposal for that plan. And I'm thinking, what? Well, why aren't you talking about the minority report? He goes on and uses his time, and then he drops an amendment on us. His trigger amendment. Oh yeah, we're not going to do a guest worker program unless. I'm like, have you ever seen a trigger amendment that actually worked anywhere, even in real legislation, not just a platform?
Marco Rubio.
Yeah, it doesn't, absolutely. So he gets up there and he puts out an amendment on top of the minority report, which should have been discussed, debated, and voted on. So now there's confusion out there. We're a little nervous. We're all in the convention center. We got our cell phones. I'm getting texts from Tea Party leaders going, do this, this is what's going on. I've got my little sign, yes, no. I got Tanya saying, stand up to show it. So we're working. We got the grassroots organization communicating all across the floor. And this comes up, and it's like, and all of a sudden, all the people that aren't as engaged, who aren't plugged in, are going, what do we vote for? What's on the table? I don't even know what the hell is going on. So you're trying to explain it to them. And then they call the end of debate. But they didn't just say end of debate on the trigger amendment. It was also over the minority report. And then they called for the votes, because the debate ended. Because in conventions, that's what happens. When somebody says, let's talk anymore, they want to move on. So we voted, and we passed the trigger amendment for the platform committee's original proposal. The minority report was voted down without any debate whatsoever. We never had a chance to get that up there. That was their plan. That was their plan. Apparently that wasn't God's plan, was it? We went through another gyration of trying to strip the guest worker program out, and we lost that on a gross void. And so it's like, oh my God. And I'm telling you, I'm sitting there going, they got us. They're so good at this. They got us. I'm feeling about as low as I could feel, because this was the fight I went on the 4-4. And then some guy down there under a white light, well, a blue light for motion, under a white light, asked a question. And before you knew it, he'd submitted a substitution amendment. And everybody's like, what? Nope. Nobody's ever seen this, so we didn't know. We didn't know who Peter was. And then they threw it up on the screen, and they scrolled through it. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then they had them read it. And I'm like, I said, okay, I like this. It's better than a minority report, and it's way better than the proposed amendment platform plan. And we were looking at that, and during the time it took to to read it, I started seeing on my cell phone text from activists after activists going, this is the one, this is it, vote for this, don't stop, keep going, we can win this one, let's do it. And they did. So we got there and we had the votes for it, like I said. Couldn't tell, hell I couldn't tell. And then they had a standing vote. Well, I thought we had more guys, but you know what? You can make a case that, I don't know, from where I was, I couldn't see everything the way they saw it from the front. And then I think, this is where divine providence stepped in. And he had one set of eyes said, I see it this way. Another set of eyes said, I see it that way. And Monastery, knowing the heat he took from the last convention, said, okay, roll call vote.
Yes.
That shocked Texas. When that roll call vote was finally tallied, and 60% of Texans voted for the substitution amendment, that was victory, plain and simple. After that, somebody said, I make a motion that we close debate on the platform, and let's vote on the platform. people were going, well, we didn't get to talk about anything else. I'm going, no, let's do it. Let's get it. We won. Let's go forward. Let's get this thing in the books and get out of town. And we did. And we walked out without the Texas solutions. We walked out without a provisional visa program. Well, we walked out with a set of common sense immigration reforms that any Texan should be able to get behind. And we are. In fact, we're using that Texas platform in the Republic of Texas Platform Committee report as a basis for legislation in a special session once it's called.
Let's do it.
All right. Now, there's one other thing I want to add. There was a mention about SD 7, whipping votes against the amendment for the amended version of the platform committee's vote. And they lost big.
Too bad.
Exactly. But in the days following convention, you had those same people, Mark Ramsey, Valerie Swanson, other leaders of SD7 coming forth and saying, oh, you guys, you're a fool. You let the real conservative plank go by the lie, and you accepted something that was less conservative. Aren't you silly? And if you don't believe us, go look at it yourself. Okay. I can take a challenge like anybody else. So I did. I took that amendment platform plank, and I took the substituted plank that Peter had passed, and I did an analysis of those. I took the committee's amendment plank, and I analyzed that. I took Peter's, and I analyzed his. And then I analyzed them both together, trying to see which is the most conservative one. Well, I found out in the amended platform committee plank that there were provisions in there for chain migration under the term family reunification. We are not for chain migration here in Texas. The other thing I found, which surprised me, was their call for reforming the Social Security card. That was your national ID card.
Yep.
Where are your papers, please? We did not want that either. So with those two things and the guest workers program, the provisional visa, whatever you want to call it, I think we could prove our case that the more conservative plank on immigration did pass the Republican Party of Texas in 2014. Thank you for giving me a chance. Thank you, guys. Thank you for all your work, Dale.